Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will be solving question 1 to question number 10 of June 22 paper 2-2, that is multiple choice questions extended. Question number 1, very small values of which quantity are measured using a micrometer screw gauge. So micrometer screw gauge is a device which is used to measure very small distances. So the answer is D. Small distances like the thickness of a paper or the thickness of a hair. Second, a man stands next to a railway track. A train is traveling at 40 meter per second, which is the speed, and it takes 2 seconds to pass the man. So this is the time. And we are asked to calculate the length of the train, which is actually the distance. So we can simply find the distance using speed is equals to distance upon time, or we can say distance is equals to speed into time. So speed is 40 and time is 20. So this gives us 80 meters. So the answer is D. Third is which quantity is equal to acceleration? Area under a distance time graph. It cannot be the answer because distance time graph, if we have the distance time graph, we don't get anything by using the distance under it. Area under a speed time graph. Area under the speed time graph gives us distance. It doesn't give us acceleration. Gradient of a distance time graph. The gradient of a distance time graph gives us speed. So this cannot be the answer, this cannot be the answer, this cannot be the answer. So obviously the answer is D, which is the gradient of a speed time graph. So if we have a speed and time graph, the gradient or the slope of this line gives us acceleration, and the area under the graph gives us the distance. Fourth, on the moon all objects falls with the same acceleration. Acceleration is same. So obviously the objects cannot have the same weight because gravity is changing. The moon has a smaller gravitational field strength than Earth. That is true, but this is not the explanation to the question. The weight of an object is directly proportional to its mass. Yes, W is equals to mg. So weight and mass are directly proportional. So this is the answer. D, the weight of an object is inversely proportional. This statement is wrong. Next is a measuring cylinder contains 30 centimeter of a liquid. So its initial reading is 30. Some more liquid is added and the level reaches 50 centimeter mark. The level reaches 50 centimeter mark. So can we calculate the volume of the liquid? Yes, the volume is calculated by subtracting the final and the initial reading. So final reading is 50, initial reading is 30. We get 20 centimeter cube as the volume. The reading on the balance increases by 30. The reading balance was actually it how much it has gained? It has gained 30 grams. So mass is 30 grams. Now we have to find the density. We know density is equals to mass upon volume. Mass is 30, volume is 20, which gives us 1.5, and unit will be gram, the mass unit, and the volume unit, gram per centimeter cube. So the answer is C. Object moves at a constant speed around a circular path. Which statement is correct? A resultant force act on the object outwards? No, there is no outward force acting on the object. Resultant force acts on the object in the direction it is traveling? No, the resultant force does not act in the same direction. The resultant force acts on the object towards the center? Yes, this is correct. If an object is traveling in a circular path, let's say this object is traveling in the circular path, so the velocity is tangential, the acceleration and the force are directed towards the center of the object. There is no resultant force because it's moving at constant speed, although it is moving at constant speed, but its velocity is constantly changing because velocity is a vector quantity. And if direction is changing, let's say the object is here, its velocity is this side. If the object reaches here, its velocity is this side. The object reaches here, its velocity is this side. So the velocity direction is changing. The speed might be constant, but the velocity direction is changing. The velocity is changing, so there is some resultant force, and this resultant force is basically the centripetal force acting towards the center of the circle. The correct answer is C, not D. Turning effect question. A beam is pivoted at the one end. The weight is acting 6 Newton downwards. The beam weight 6 Newton is acting downwards and it is at a distance of 40 centimeter from the pivot. Now we have to calculate in which direction and where is the 4 Newton force applied. Now they are saying a force of 4 Newton is applied making the beam horizontally. We have to balance it horizontally basically. So if this force is acting downwards and pivot is here, the weight is acting downwards, obviously the force which we have to apply have to act upwards. right? And because the pivot is this side, that force have to be somewhere towards the right. So let's say somewhere here. So without any calculation, we can simply say it is towards the right. It's towards the right. So either the answer is this or this. So we cannot have the answer as A or C. Now vertically upwards or downwards. As I said, downward already one force is acting. So in order to balance, we have to have a upward force. So we can say the correct answer is G, vertically upwards. If both the forces are acting downwards, how will the beam balance? So the force has to act upwards, right? We need not to calculate. We have just applied some common sense here. The diagram shows two forces acting at right angles. Okay. When the forces are acting at right angles, we can use the Pythagoras theorem. We can use the Pythagoras theorem to find the resultant. So in this case, the resultant can be the perpendicular square, which is 3 square, and the base square, which is 4 square. So we get 9 plus 16, which gives us root 25, which gives us 5 Newton. The answer is 5 Newton. You can also use a scale method. You can simply draw a line and measure it. Which statement describes the impulse? So impulse is basically the change in momentum. It is not the change in kinetic energy, not the rate of change of force, it's not the rate of change of momentum of the object. It's the change in momentum. It is not the rate of change. So momentum is Ft. This is momentum, which is equals to change in momentum mv minus mu. So if I am saying what is the difference between B and D, they are saying rate of change. So in this case, they are saying mv minus mu upon t. So this is not impulse. Impulse is force into time. So if you are taking time here, it is not impulse. If we have to take time, if we take time there, then it becomes impulse. So impulse is basically this term. Impulse is Ft. The product of force and time is impulse. So correct answer is B. Next is a ball of mass 0.16 kg. So we have a ball, one ball here is moving forward at a speed of 0.50 second. This ball is moving this side. A second ball is also there which is not moving. It is stationary. It is not moving. The first ball strikes the second ball. Now this and this ball will collide. These two balls collide and they are saying the second ball moves with some speed. What is the speed of this ball? So it is clearly a collision question. So we can apply our conservation of momentum. Conservation of momentum says momentum which is P before the collision, momentum before collision is always equals to momentum which is P again, small p. This is small p. Momentum after collision. And what is momentum? Momentum is mv. So I can say m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equals to m1 v1 plus m2 v2, where u is the initial velocity of both the objects, v is the final velocity. m1 is the mass of the first ball, 0.16. u1 is the initial velocity, which is 0.50. 0.50 plus m2 is 0.10, and u2 is the initial speed. It was stationary, so its speed was 0. m1 again 0.16, its velocity we have to find, so let's take it v only, plus m2 is 0.10, and velocity after collision it's 0.50. Let's solve it quickly. This becomes 0.08 plus 0, that is we are removing it. This is 0.16v plus this gives us 0.05. So if I solve it here, I get 0.08 minus 0.05 gives me 0.16v. So it gives me 0.03 is equals to 0.16v, or I can say v is equals to 0.03 upon 0.16. Let's quickly solve it. I get 0.1875 something. So round it off, I get 0.19 meter per second. So my answer is B. So we'll continue with this video in the next part. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.